Hi parents, it's Jim McGannon. I want to talk about what I'm referring to as the curtain call for your kids as they approach high school, and that is middle school. Where are they at in middle school? Let me talk a little bit about numbers just to begin with. In any community where basketball is sort of a popular sport, at the youth level, like K through 6th grade, there are hundreds, sometimes hundreds and hundreds of kids who play. As they then get into middle school, which is 7th grade and 8th grade, those are dwindled down dramatically. There might be two teams, A and B, at many of these schools. Each team might have 10 kids on each team, so that's a total of 20 total players, boys on one team, girls on another. So now we've gone from hundreds and possibly hundreds of players down to 20 beginning in 7th grade and 8th grade. Now from 8th grade to high school, now we're talking about a dozen kids making that team. So from hundreds and hundreds to 20 or so to 12, right? So what is the point, right? What are we trying to do with regard to our kids if they want to play high school basketball? I'd like to first alert you to a video that will be close to this attached or somewhere nearby, because I'll make it visible, from Stan Van Gundy, who's a NBA coach, former NBA coach. His brother's Jeff Van Gundy, who's a really astute announcer. And Stan Van Gundy just tells the truth about the issues with youth basketball in this country. So I'd like you to watch that. It's 2.5 minutes long. The impetus of this video are the dozens of calls I get after tryouts. So we've just had high school boys and high school girls try out in West Michigan. And I literally every year get dozens of calls from parents who are basically now desperate because their kid got cut. Very, very few of these kids are basics players. Over 90% of our kids make their school teams. So these parents are desperate, and what are they going to do, right? Their kid still wants to play. Now that's courageous, actually, in a way. That there's a silver lining there. That player at least is showing some courage in wanting to continue. But this speaks to the curtain call, which was, for these players, middle school. What are these players doing in middle school? The vast majority are playing on teams and leagues and games. And quickly on that score, these facilities that exist all over the place here in Michigan, West Michigan, all over the place, they have every right to be running their business. It's a business, and they're good at it, and they're established. But a little bit like fast food, right? It tastes good, it smells good, it looks good, but it's really not that healthy for you. So they have a right to be in the market, but I want the parents to understand you have a choice as it pertains to basics, and you're going to get what you're going to get with us. Over 90% of the kids make their school teams. Here's the good news. There's this window of opportunity right now. Basically, it's a pretty quick window. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. If they are not among the better or best players, it's not going to be easy. And they have to commit to doing the work and get the reps. We talk about it all the time. Repetition, 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 repetition. We're building these competitive habits. Repetitions do not occur in games. Games are only a benchmark of their skill, right? So seriously consider coming to basics. It's not easy because, the winds that blow in these communities are indicating, let's go play on this team, let's get on that team, let's travel, for goodness sake. A phrase that I use all the time is playing basketball and winning in basketball are on different planets. They're not even related. Everybody plays, but only a fraction of the kids win. Well, why is that? Well, it's their skill, it's their condition, and it's their mental toughness, how they think. So you're not going to be getting outcomes with basics other than the 95% likelihood that your kid will make their high school team. That's the only outcome that we're quite interested in. We don't care about the wins, the games, the leagues, the tournaments, the uniforms, the referees. All that stuff is dismissed. So this window of opportunity exists now in middle school. And these kids who come after they get cut, I love these kids. I love these kids. They're showing courage. They're behind the 8 ball. I mean, we're not miracle workers. We can help these kids, and a lot of these kids who have been cut come to basics and they make their school teams, but very few of them become any kind of impact player because they're just way behind in terms of the skill. Now, for the parents, please understand, these are the tryout dates, and you should be aware of this. Middle school boys are going to be late October. Middle school girls are, generally speaking, in mid to late January. High school boys and high school girls try out in November. So just remember, those are like big X dates on your calendar, and you should ramp up to those dates with skill, condition, and mental strength. Parents, look at your kids' skill level and whether they are actually contributing to the team they're on. Are they impacting the game in a positive way? Are they one of the better or best players? And if they're not, get them into basics right now. They have a brief window of opportunity. And let me tell you something else. If they are the best players, among the best players or the best players, they should also attend basics. The number of kids who have jumped ahead to varsity as freshmen or sophomores is in the hundreds since we've been calculating these numbers. We have so many young kids, young players who get to high school and they just jump all the way to varsity. And it's because they have sharper skills, better conditioning, and they're mentally tough. So an analogy that I like to use, is the, taking of tests. If you're going to take some big test in whatever the topic is, right, physics or American history or whatever it is, you're not going to prepare for that critical test by taking test after test after test. You're going to prepare for that critical test by practicing and understanding the material and repeating and studying. The analogy is identical to basics, right? We don't really care about the outcomes. The outcomes are meaningless in the short term. All that matters is that test, which generally is in November of your kid's freshman year, sophomore year, and so on. So to summarize, please don't confuse the games and the leagues with competitive growth. They're barely related. The games and leagues are only a benchmark, a measurement, a barometer of their skill. If your son or daughter is not in that upper echelon of players in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, get them in quickly. The repetition is critical. The outcomes of these games don't really matter that much. They might be fun, like fast food. They kind of are fun and they taste good, but they're not healthy for you in terms of that tryout in November. And that's it. The curtain call is now, and we hope that your son or daughter chooses basics in their middle school years. Thank you.